Greetings, pledges. Before we begin, I need to address something shockingly basic. Side dishes are optional, as in you don't need them, as in they are not required to complete a meal, as in I cannot believe I have to say this out loud. Some of you are constructing plates that make it impossible to tell what the actual meal was supposed to be. It's all sides, all noise, no leadership, just chaos on a plate. A meal is not supposed to be a sampler platter. A plate is not supposed to look like a collage. You're not curating an art exhibit. You're eating lunch. And please don't start with the holiday excuses. This isn't about Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever seasonal chaos you decided to spiritually justify. This is an everyday problem. Your plate looks like this all year long. You keep blaming the entree for your weight gain when the problem is the 5 supporting actors you insist on casting at every meal. You don't have meal structure. You have a side dish addiction. So today we're gonna fix that. Because once you understand that sides are optional, and most of you should not be ordering them at all, everything else suddenly becomes very, very obvious. Let's begin. The entree is not the problem. It never was. A single portion of protein has never undone anyone. A sandwich has never destabilized a body. The primary item on your plate is rarely the culprit. What destroys you are the additions, the excess you attach to an already sufficient meal. Fries you did not need, mac and cheese you did not require, bread you didn't even want until you saw it. You behave as if a meal is incomplete without a chorus of unnecessary companions, as if one item cannot stand alone without your intervention. Ask yourself, who taught you this? Who convinced you that a plate must contain a main and 2 sides to qualify as a real meal? Because it was not anyone disciplined, and it certainly was not anyone thin. This belief, this compulsion to surround your food with more food, is not tradition. It's not culture. It's not nourishment. It's simply obesity masquerading as normalcy. Your entree is innocent. Your additions are not. You didn't gain weight because you chose a reasonable dish. You gained weight because you refused to let that choice be enough. One plate, one item, a complete meal. Everything beyond that is indulgence rationalized as structure. You may continue blaming the entree if it comforts you, but understand the truth remains unchanged. It is the sides that are undoing you. Let's move on to something basic. You don't know how to build a plate. A plate needs one center, one, not a lineup. The entree is the point. Everything else you add only makes the meal harder to control. When you stack multiple foods together, you're not creating balance, you're creating distraction. And distraction always turns into overeating. Thin women understand this. Their plates are simple because simplicity keeps you sane. 1 item is a meal. 2 items is a choice. 3 or more is chaos. When your plate has too many components, you drift, you pick. You return. You overdo it. When your plate has one clear focus, the meal ends cleanly. This isn't about deprivation. It's about order. A disciplined plate makes a disciplined body. Yours are cluttered, and so are your results. Now let's address the fantasy you've been sold. Moderation, intuition, feeling into your fullness. You don't need any of that. And the only reason you think you do is because you keep building plates that demand superhuman self-control. Of course you struggle. Anyone would struggle if they sat down in front of a pile. You think you have a discipline problem. What you actually have is an over-serving problem. You're trying to intuitively eat a meal you've already made impossible to moderate. You can close your eyes, breathe deeply, listen to your inner child. None of it matters if the plate is excessive. Thinness isn't spiritual. It's structural. When the portion is right, you don't need intuition. You don't need mindfulness. You don't need to hit 80% fullness. You plated 80% fullness. You're not failing in moderation. You're failing at the setup. Fix the plate and you remove the need for all the theatrics you've been told to perform around food. Here's the real issue. You don't trust that 1 item will be enough. That's why you order sides. Not because you're hungry, because you're anxious. You look at a perfectly reasonable entree and immediately panic. What if I'm still hungry? What if this doesn't fill me? What if I need something else? So you add more and more and more. You don't do it out of desire. You do it out of fear. Fear of being hungry for 5 minutes. Fear of not being stuffed. Fear of discomfort so minor it barely qualifies as a sensation. You don't let a meal satisfy you because you never give it the chance. Before the first bite, you've already built a backup plan, a safety net, a collection of just-in-case items. And then you pretend you accidentally overate, as if this wasn't engineered from the moment you sat down. You don't trust food. You don't trust your appetite. You don't trust your ability to simply stop. So you guarantee you won't. You prepare for every meal like you're preparing for a famine. One entree would have been enough. You're the one who decided it wouldn't be. And since it's the holidays, let's address another illusion you cling to. This idea that the food in front of you is somehow special, limited, irreplaceable. It isn't. Cranberry sauce has been in a can all year. Mashed potatoes are available every day of your life. Turkey is not some mythical creature that only descends in November. So explain to me why you suddenly need 8 items on one plate because it's the holidays. Nothing being served is rare. Nothing is limited edition. Nothing requires urgency. You're not overeating because the food is special. You're overeating because you behave like it's disappearing. And it doesn't stop after the holidays. You do the exact same thing every time you go out to eat. You act like you must try everything right now, as if the restaurant is about to shut down forever. You know you can come back, right? There is no countdown clock on the menu. So why do you approach every single meal like it's your last supper? That urgency is not hunger. It's not celebration. It's not joy. It's panic. It's compulsion. It's the performance of scarcity in a world where you have constant access. You're not sampling, you're spiraling. And if you stopped pretending the food was rare, you might finally be able to eat like a person instead of acting like every meal is your final opportunity to experience taste. Some of you have convinced yourselves that certain foods are fattening or dangerous. No, what's dangerous is the way you eat them. The entree is never the issue. It's everything you insist on attaching to it. Take pasta. People love to gasp like it's the villain of the century. Pasta is not the problem. Your version of pasta is the problem. Because you never just eat pasta. You need lasagna and garlic bread, and a side salad swimming in ranch, and a glass of wine, and dessert since you're already having a heavy meal. Suddenly, you've turned one entree into an entire evening, and then you blame the pasta as if that's the reason you need to unbutton your pants. You do this with every category of food. You can't just have pasta. You have pasta with bread, with wine, with cheese, with a side, with a starter. You can't just have sushi. You build a 4-course sampler. You can't just have a burger or a sandwich. You need fries, chips, a drink, and something sweet after. You don't eat meals. You build productions. No single food is fattening. Your combinations are fattening. Your add-ons are fattening. Your insistence on turning every meal into a full sensory experience is fattening. One entree was never the problem. It's the supporting cast you keep hiring. You're not overweight because you ate lasagna. You're overweight because you insisted on turning lasagna into a 5-act play. Let's be honest about something you keep pretending not to know. If you have a weight problem, you have a moderation problem. People who can moderate don't gain weight. People who can moderate don't yo-yo. People who can moderate don't wake up one day shocked by their reflection. If your weight constantly creeps up, if you spiral on vacations, if every holiday derails you, it's because you can't moderate. And that's not an insult. It's a fact. You keep testing yourself. You keep seeing what happens. You keep putting foods in front of you that you know you can't stop eating. And then you act betrayed when you don't stop. You're not confused. You're in denial. Your problem wasn't that you ate the whole plate. Your problem was that you built a plate you were never gonna leave unfinished. If you cannot moderate something, don't plate it. If you cannot control something, don't order it. If you binge it, don't keep it in your home. If it triggers you, stop pretending it's neutral. Moderation is a privilege, not a personality trait. Some people get it. You don't. And that's fine if you stop pretending otherwise. Discipline isn't saying no halfway through the meal. Discipline is never giving yourself the chance to say yes in the first place. Control doesn't happen at the plate. Control happens before the plate. And your entire life changes when you stop constructing meals you hope you'll magically moderate. You're not failing at moderation. You're failing at preparation. Build different plates and you will become a different person. Now that we've established you cannot moderate, we can finally talk about how you're expected to build a plate. These are not suggestions. These are rules. Rule number 1, one entree is enough. A complete meal. You don't need anything next to it. If you choose a main, you've chosen your meal. There is nothing missing. Rule number 2, a side dish is optional, not required, not expected, not automatic. Side dishes are accents, not co-stars. If you add one, it should be small, clean, and irrelevant to your portion size. Rule number 3, 2 or more sides is a problem. Multiple sides are not variety, they are chaos. If you feel compelled to add more than one item, you're no longer constructing a plate. You're building a spiral. 1 side is an accent, 2 sides is a warning, 3 sides is a relapse. Rule number 4, your plate must have a focal point. If someone cannot look at your plate and immediately identify the main item, the plate is wrong. A good plate is visually quiet, calm, minimal. You should not have to search for the entree. Rule number 5, no meal should require management. If your plate requires discipline, you built the wrong plate, babe. You should not have to negotiate with dinner. You should not need willpower to stop. You should not be playing defense while eating. A properly constructed plate does the work for you. Rule number 6, sides are treats, not obligations. Stop acting like a meal is incomplete without something extra. That belief is how you got here. Sides are indulgences disguised as structure. They should be rare, intentional, and unnecessary. Rule number 7, your plate should look thin. Your plate should reflect the body you want, not the habits you're trying to escape. Thin plates create thin behavior. Cluttered plates create chaos. And finally, rule number 8, if you're unsure, simplify. When in doubt, remove something. When still in doubt, remove something else. At the end of the day, the truth is simple. To be small, you have to eat small. Not sometimes. Not only when it's convenient. Not only when the holidays are over. If the holidays feel dangerous to you, it's because every plate you build already looks like Thanksgiving. You don't overeat once a year. You overeat in miniature every day. When your everyday behavior is chaotic, the holidays just expose it. If you want support, join the Patreon. It costs less than those sides you keep justifying. Meeting adjourned.